From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
The coronavirus pandemic continues to take a toll on Hoosier lives. Now at 4:30, the latest report from the White House and what they say all Hoosiers need to do to help slow the spread. Plus, Moderna's vaccine is one step closer to final approval. This morning, we're taking a look at how it works and when we could see it shipped out. And many Hoosier students and families have several more weeks of e-learning working for you. We're talking to a local organization that's making sure students get the individual attention they need. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Nicole Griffin in for Lauren Casey. Meteorologist Todd Clausen joins me now. Todd, it's pretty cold stepping out the door this morning.
We mentioned it yesterday, Nicole, how the clouds were keeping the temperatures up throughout the overnight hours yesterday morning. No clouds this morning, and take a look at the temperatures. They're exactly right. It is cold out there. In fact, we are down to 20 degrees in Terre Haute, as well as Bloomington, 23 in Indianapolis, where there is some cloud cover still. You notice the difference. Muncie still at 31 degrees, but as the clouds clear out, you'll see your temperatures drop as well. Here's the view right now from IMS back towards downtown Indianapolis. A little better view of the skyline today. That's because the moisture that was out there is starting to diminish. You see who has the clear skies, who still has the clouds here from Kokomo to Muncie over to Richmond. A little bit of cloud cover, but we'll see some sunshine here as we get the day going. Ultimately, the clouds, though, will increase later on this evening. But with the sunshine, here's the big difference. Temperatures will start to move pretty quickly this morning out of the 20s, eventually into the mid-30s by the afternoon hours. Nicole?
All right, Todd, thank you. Let's take a live look out at the roads here at 431. This is I-70 at Sam Jones Expressway, where you can see not a whole lot of traffic at this early hour. No accidents or delays. We'll keep an eye on your commute all morning long. This morning, new information from the White House Coronavirus Task Force shows Indiana has the fourth highest rate of new COVID-19 cases in the country. According to the report, our state is seeing about 666 new COVID-19 cases per 100,000 residents. The national average is 451 cases. The report also shows a slight drop in hospitalizations, but says the numbers are still among the highest in the country and hospitals are struggling to keep up. The report says COVID-19 mitigation efforts in Indiana must increase to bring the number of infections, deaths, and hospitalizations down. So let's take a closer look at the numbers from the state health department. Health officials report 6,458 new cases of the virus. That's 175 more cases than reported the previous day. Since last Tuesday, we have seen an average of about 6,100 new COVID-19 cases a day. So far, a total of 447,190 Hoosiers have tested positive for the virus. State health officials also report an additional 79 COVID-related deaths. In this month alone, 1,102 Hoosiers have died with the virus. As you can see, December is on track to be the deadliest month for our state based on preliminary data. Since March, 6,860 Hoosiers have died with COVID-19. An advisory committee for the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has voted to recommend emergency use authorization of Moderna's coronavirus vaccine. This comes exactly 1 week after Pfizer's vaccine was recommended for emergency use. The decision was adopted in a 22-0 vote with one abstention. Today, the full FDA is expected to vote on the emergency use authorization. So how does Moderna's vaccine actually work?
Our vaccine uses our body's own cells to activate the immune system. It enables these cells to make only the part of the virus that is critical for the immune system to recognize. Importantly, our vaccine platform has some inherent safety features. The manufacturing process is cell-free. It does not use products of animal or human origin, and it does not contain preservatives or adjuvants, thus avoiding some of the potential concerns of older vaccine technologies.
If the FDA approves the vaccine, the CDC would need to greenlight it before shots can be administered. A CDC advisory panel is expected to meet Saturday to make its recommendation. If all goes well, Moderna could begin shipping its vaccine sometime early next week. There is an effort right now to make sure vaccines get to those who need it most. Several organizations teamed up with the ACLU of Indiana in hopes of making that happen. The group sent a letter to Governor Holcomb calling for transparency and equitable distribution. Right now, under Governor Holcomb's plan, Phase 1A of vaccine distribution includes healthcare workers. Next up will be vulnerable populations, but it's not yet clear who exactly falls into that category. The ACLU is hoping that the group will include people in prisons, those in group living situations, and minority communities, as those populations are being disproportionately impacted by the virus.
Every day we get to see the impacts of the fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic. The families and the community that we serve that struggled well before the pandemic, but the disparities have worsened what we see.
Transparency would give all of us faith that this vaccine is being distributed in a fair and equitable way.
The Urban League of Indianapolis says it hopes to start working with health leaders in January to come up with a plan for vaccine clinics and education. Indianapolis Public Schools says the district is in no rush to return to in-person classes after Christmas break. The superintendent says the earliest students will be back in the classroom, if at all, is January 19th.
We still want to do our due diligence to be sure that when we return to school, we're doing so under safer conditions. So I don't anticipate a return before the 19th.
Superintendent Alicia Johnson also says that she will get a COVID-19 vaccine and encourage others to do so when it is available to educators. She shared her thoughts on stopping the spread of COVID and supporting IPS families that are struggling with our Rafael Sanchez. You can see that full interview coming up in the 6 o'clock hour. With many Hoosier students continuing to learn virtually, a local organization is working to make sure students get the help they need. The Center for Leadership Development provides one-on-one virtual tutoring to students in need. We spoke with Kim Covington. Her son Cameron is in 8th grade. Kim tells us the lack of one-on-one interaction with someone in a classroom was keeping Cameron from succeeding with his writing assignments. So they connected with CLD, and that's when things started to turn around.
So we want to proactively reach out and make sure that students and parents understand not just that these resources are available, but they understand the transformation that can occur when students and families have access to these types of services coming from professionals.
Well, the CLD president, Dennis Bland, says the sigh of relief from families is the very reason why they are offering tutoring free of charge.
E-learning has been a bit difficult, keeping the schedule, keeping the focus, keeping the motivation. I'm not a great writer, so having an expert here to coach him, that has been very helpful.
Well, to learn more about the Center for Leadership Development and their professional tutors, you can visit their website right now, cldinc.org. And we also have a link in this story on the WRTV News app. Riley Children's Health Labor and Delivery Team at IU Health Methodist has launched the state's first birth class designed for LGBTQ families. And this morning, we're getting a look at what the program means for the community and growing families. Candace King is a labor and delivery nurse at Methodist Hospital, and she teaches the new class for LGBTQ families. She says the goal is to provide a safe space for new and soon-to-be parents.
It's a safe place where they can ask whatever they want and not have to worry about that. And maybe even have somebody that they can relate to, whether it's another couple that is quote unquote non-traditional, as well as myself, the instructor, just being a member of the LGBT community is a little more relatable to them.
There is some sort of trauma that happens in the LGBT community in terms of healthcare and medical providers. That's just a reality. So to know that I can get on IU North or Riley or Methodist or whatever website and see LGBTQ just out there and very public, that is a big deal.
The first class took place at the beginning of December and is virtual right now due to the pandemic. The class will be held quarterly. The U.S. government is reeling from a major hacking operation. Straight ahead, who's behind the breach and how your information may be affected. And lawmakers in Washington are making progress on another coronavirus aid package, and that could mean money in your pockets. Still ahead, where negotiations now stand. Todd.
And Nicole, we're starting off with clear skies across central Indiana, which is good because we haven't seen the sunshine, but that's allowing temperatures to start in the 20s this morning. We'll have some sunshine today, but you can already see the next storm system off to our west that's heading our way for the weekend. We'll talk more about that coming up, and the news continues here on Good Morning Indiana on WRTV.
Welcome back. The time now is 4:43. A federal prisoner scheduled to be executed at the United States Penitentiary in Terre Haute has tested positive for coronavirus, according to his lawyer. His diagnosis comes as the number of coronavirus cases continues to spike inside the federal prison system. Dustin John Higgs is scheduled to be executed January 15th. He was convicted of abducting and killing 3 women back in 1996. His diagnosis marks the first known coronavirus case on federal death row. It also raises the possibility that his execution could be delayed if his condition deteriorates. In a statement to the Associated Press, the Bureau of Prisons confirms that an employee working in the unit also tested positive for the virus. As of Thursday, more than 300 inmates have confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the Terre Haute facility. In Washington, officials are scrambling to assess the damage from a potentially devastating breach across multiple government computer networks. New data shows at least 7 countries are affected, including Canada and Israel. But 80% of the accounts affected are here in the U.S. Several government agencies were hacked, including the Energy Department's Nuclear Security Agency, which oversees the nuclear weapons stockpile. The State Commerce and Treasury Departments were also breached. Members of Congress fear that taxpayers' personal information could have been exposed, but experts say the hackers were likely looking for sensitive national security data. Officials believe the hack was done by Russian agents.
A cyber hack of this nature is really the modern equivalent of almost of Russian bombers reportedly flying undetected over the entire country.
This is virtually a declaration of war by Russia on the United States, and we should take that seriously.
Sources say the breach allowed Russians to view emails of U.S. officials apparently going undetected for nearly 6 months. Investigators say it will take weeks or even months to determine the overall impact. Senator Mitch McConnell says lawmakers will not leave Washington until a COVID relief package is passed. McConnell's comments come as several initiatives, including an eviction moratorium and expanded unemployment benefits, are set to expire. A $900 billion package is under consideration. It includes help to small businesses, $300 weekly unemployment checks, and $600 stimulus payments to most people. But some Republicans say the bill's price tag is too high, while progressive Democrats want larger stimulus checks. Still, lawmakers are hopeful they can reach a compromise and pass a temporary funding bill to keep the government open. Meanwhile, McConnell and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi are coming together to encourage fellow members of Congress to get vaccinated. Both Pelosi and McConnell say they will get the COVID-19 vaccine in the next few days. Members of Congress are eligible under government continuity guidelines. A small supply of Pfizer shots was sent to Washington, meant for lawmakers on Capitol Hill. McConnell says as a polio survivor, he's especially aware of the hope that this vaccine brings. And this morning, the Northeast is continuing to dig out after a massive snowstorm. More than 40 inches dumped in Binghamton, New York, and icy roads make for a rough commute in several parts of the Northeast. At Baltimore's airport Thursday morning, a Spirit Air flight from Las Vegas skidding off an icy runway. Thankfully, no one was hurt in that situation. There were also hundreds of spinouts and crashes across the storm zone. A multi-car pileup left several people hurt on New York's west side, and nearly 50 people hurt in accidents across Connecticut. 2 people died following a massive pileup on I-80 in central Pennsylvania. At one point, more than 25,000 East Coast residents were without power. But as of this morning, that number is down significantly. And Todd, I know your family lives out in that area. Is everyone okay, nice and safe this morning?
Yeah, I talked to my mom yesterday, and she got about 10 inches of snow, but she said the crews did a good job on the roads, and her neighbors came over and shoveled her sidewalk for her, so she was in good shape. But yeah, 40 inches of snow. It's really hard to even imagine there. Makes our 1 to 3 look pretty easy, right? That we went through earlier in the week. Outside right now, it's quiet, but it is cold. The temperatures have dropped down into the 20s all across most of the area. I'll show you in just a second. There's a few locations off to the east that have temperatures in the 30s. 23 right now in Indy. No wind chill out there today, so that is good news. But look at these temperatures. Where we're in the teens and the 20s, that's where the skies have cleared. So we're talking Greencastle at 17, Crawfordsville at 20, Lafayette at 20, Bloomington at 20 degrees, as is Terre Haute. Tipton's at 23 right now, but you see Muncie still at 31 degrees, Connorsville at 30, and Richmond at 27 degrees. And the difference is where the temperatures are in the upper 20s and 30s, that's where the clouds are still present across the area. As we go forward throughout the day, with the sunshine to start, we'll see our temperatures warm pretty quickly. Think back to yesterday when we had the clouds in place. Temperatures just didn't move at all really throughout the entire day. We only went up about 3 to 4 degrees throughout the entire day. Even though it's a colder start this morning, our temperatures will moderate pretty quickly across the area and will be into the mid to upper 30s later on this afternoon. And here you can see the dividing line where the clouds are in place still from Peru to Muncie over towards Richmond and down to Greensburg. But soon as the clouds clear in your area, and they will on the eastern side of the state, those temperatures are going to drop off very, very quickly. Now, it's only a little window here of sunshine that we're going to see throughout the course of the day. The clouds are already off to our west, and they'll start to increase later on this evening. So this evening becomes mostly cloudy. Temperatures will be in the 30s. Tomorrow morning as you wake up, it's not as cold with temperatures hovering right around the freezing mark. But as we work our way throughout the day on Saturday, in the morning hours, there could really be a little brief wintry mix in northern locations. And then as the day goes on, temperatures will get up to near 40. And as the front goes through, we're looking at some scattered rain showers throughout the day tomorrow. So as far as the weekend goes, Saturday is probably the worst of the 2 days simply because there's some precipitation moving through. None of it's going to be all that heavy. That's the good news. But nonetheless, there will be some rain that you'll have to contend with. Sunday is a better day, 41. And then we're up to near 50 by Wednesday of next week. It's mild and breezy. But as we get into Thursday and then eventually towards Christmas, it does get colder and a few snow showers will be possible as that colder air comes in during the day on Thursday. Nicole.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a live look outside at the roads here on this Friday morning. It is 4:50. This is I-465 at West 86th Street, where you don't see hardly any traffic out here at this early morning hour. No crashes or delays to slow you down as you're heading out the door, but we will keep you updated throughout Good Morning Indiana. A new report finds as many as 30 million workers could be earning up to 70% more than they are. The nonprofit group Opportunity at Work calls these workers STARS. That stands for Skilled Through Alternative Routes. They are people who don't have college degrees but do have the skills necessary to earn a higher wage. Women, Black, and Hispanic STARS face even greater challenges in moving jobs. And when they advance, they make less than their counterparts. STARS have also been hit hardest by the pandemic. About 2/3 of the workforce that has been laid off this year have been STARS. And this is exciting news here. The 2021 USA Gymnastics Winter Cup is coming to the Circle City. The competition will be held February 26th through the 28th at the Indiana Convention Center. The Cup will kick off the 2021 competitive season ahead of the Tokyo Olympic Games in July and August and the World Championships in October in Japan. Performances at the event will help determine the composition of the men's and women's national teams for 2021. Due to the ongoing pandemic, the events will not be open for public attendance. Former President George W. Bush is hopeful for a better 2021. Coming up, see his holiday cards with a special message to Americans. And while many industries are hurting during the pandemic, others are seeing a boom. Coming up, all new at 5, why a local crafting business is seeing a spike in sales. It's 4:51. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on WRTV. Welcome back. Former President George W. Bush sent out holiday cards with a message about a hopeful new year. It reads, "May the light of the holiday season shine bright in your heart now and throughout the new year." It includes a verse from the New Testament and is signed by the former president and his wife, Laura Bush. The card also includes an image of Bush's painting of the Statue of Liberty. The painting is titled Beacon of Hope 2020 and is part of his collection of art collection celebrating immigrants. And Todd, we can only hope for a better 2021 because I don't think people can take much more.
And remember yesterday on the noon show, instead of the U-Log, they showed the dumpster fire?
Yes, I got a tweet about that.
You know, I think, you know, a lot of people are feeling that way here about 2020 at this point. So, yeah, here's to hopefully a better 2021 for everybody out there. All right, outside right now it is cold. Temperatures are in the 20s. We're up to about in the mid-30s here later on this afternoon with partly cloudy skies. A few rain showers and maybe a couple flakes mixed in tomorrow, but more in the way of rain showers at 39. And then 40s for the weekend. We'll break your forecast down in more detail for you coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues when Raphael joins Nicole and I at the top of the hour.